So thank you very much. And this is the follow-up session for the follow-up from the 9th ASCC event. And I would like to extend my gratitude for many participants from around the world. So today we have two sessions prepared today. First, from Spain, Madrid, we have our guest speaker. And from Vietnam, Hanoi, we also have another speaker attending. And they will be discussing with us on the current status and details of case studies of Asian smart city, as well as expectations towards the players here in Japan. And we will also entertain questions as well. So we'll start off with Alfonso Vegara, and he will discuss with us some examples of a project in Hanoi, Vietnam. And we would like to create the foundation for today's discussion. Now, Alfonso Vegara-san, Fundación Metropolitan, a very famous think tank right now. He is the founder, and he is active basically in Madrid. And for urban planning, ASOCAP, he was also the chair of this association as well. And this is participated by 70 countries. And so in this field, quite a prominent association. An Eisenhower Fellowship, as well as in Madrid. He is also honorary mayor, and he is also teaching at Navarra University, as well as San Pablo Central University and at Penn University as well. And at our Wyport Center, he is also acting as our senior advisor, and he is offering various advice. And so the Dequan Pride Award in Singapore, he is also one of the judges. And for Retnam-san, we will be hearing from him later on. So at that occasion, I would like to introduce you. So let me call upon Alfonso Vegara-san.
Alfonso, how are you today?
Very well, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you from Madrid.
Yeah, that's right. So thank you very much for wake up very early in the morning. So we look forward to hearing your project and your insight towards mainly Japanese colleagues and what is a good model for us to deliver to Asia and ASEAN. All right. So it's floor is yours. So please.
Thank you. I will try to share my my slides so I can comment on the projects we are developing in ASEAN, in particular in Vietnam. I see a lot of opportunities of collaboration between Japan and Vietnam, particularly in the technology and real estate development and infrastructure. So I think these examples I will try to highlight in Vietnam and also in Indonesia can help connecting opportunities in the region with the strength of companies and professionals in Japan. So I will try to share my screen with you. I think you can see now my screen, correct, Toru? Wonderful. I would like to express that the work we will be sharing belong to the activities developed by Fundación Metrópoli, which is an international center of innovation in cities and regions around the world. We began Fundación Metrópoli collaborating with different cities around the world to discover the intelligence of the territory and to discover the best practice internationally. This is the EcoBox, which is the headquarters of Fundación Metrópoli in Madrid. It's a center of excellence for designing cities of the future. One singularity of the activities we do at Fundación Metrópoli is our alliances with UN Habitat and also our alliance with UN World Tourism Organization. And this alliance is for the practical implementation of sustainable development goal. This is key because today, most countries, most cities, companies agree on sustainable development goal. But the challenge is how to implement, how to make a real implementation of this sustainable development goal. This is our challenge when working with UN Habitat and when UN World Tourism Organization. I would like to focus in this very dynamic region of the world, ASEAN. ASEAN, you see the super cities, you see the cities leading this territory in which Japan can develop a very important role in commercial interaction and helping then the cities for the future. In particular, I would like to focus in Hanoi and the territory around Hanoi we call the delta, the Red River Delta. This is a satellite view. This is the light intensity in 2019. So we can see the human interaction with this picture. And also when collaborating with local leaders, asking the main relation of Hanoi with ASEAN countries, cities, they say mainly Singapore, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, in this order. This is the preference and the vision of the level of economic interaction between Hanoi and the cities in the region. But when asking about interaction with Asia in general, the connection with Tokyo and the connection with Seoul appear as a priority for the forum, for the city forum, for the approximately 100 leaders that we ask about this perception. So going to Hanoi, you see in the center Hanoi, but there are a polycentric structure of cities. You have Hanoi, but you have also the port in Haiphong, and you have also other cities. This yellow figure, this is the isochrone. This is the territory at a distance of 30 minutes of these cities. This is in 1 hour, isochrone, and this is 1 hour and a half. This is a functional territory of 30 million people approximately. And you can see the importance demographically, the importance of different cities in the Red River Delta territorial diamond. So in the center of this diamond is not only Hanoi, but also Eco Park. Eco Park is the project I would like to share with you today. But it is important to understand that this diamond, this territory, has a very singular natural environment. Not only the river, also the mountain. You can see the topography. This is very important when planning the future of this territory to consider two main components: functional structure and ecological structure. It is very important to understand the strength of natural areas. The natural areas in the region are really amazing. You can see the World Heritage areas in the territorial diamond around Hanoi. And also very important, the road network. And they will need to improve a lot this road network. The experience of Japan is very important to improve the infrastructure. You can see here the railway network. You can see the ports, both seaports and river ports. And you can see also the main international airport. This infrastructure needs to be improved for the development of the region. And also, it is important to consider the industrial zone. These are the industrial parks in the region. Can you imagine the amount of foreign investment coming to Vietnam, and in particular, coming to Hanoi metropolitan area and to this territory of the diamond? In my opinion, this is one of the most precious areas in Vietnam where Japan can really collaborate. I will express in more detail, I will share with you the Eco Park project in this territorial context. So if we analyze Hanoi, you see Hanoi, you see the river, and you see Eco Park. Eco Park is at a distance approximately 15 kilometers from Hanoi. This is the river, these are the flooding areas, And this is Hanoi in 2000, approximately, so in 1999. It was a very compact city with a traditional heritage near the river. And you will see in 20 years, from 2000 approximately to 2020, so the transformation has been amazing. You see the sprawling and the danger of this kind of development. We are suggesting to create a corridor of innovation in a new dialogue between the river and Hanoi. You see the center of Hanoi, and you see this innovation super corridor, an amazing opportunity to develop new projects, new transportation system in this area. So you see Hanoi, and you see the location of Eco Park. I will go into more detail in Eco Park. Eco Park is a project of a new city. It's a project of 500 hectares that is in part is developed, but we would like to transform this township into a place of innovation. And we prepare a participatory process. Very important, the participation of public sector, private sector, civil society organization, the participation to define the character of the future projects. And through this participation, we identify key concepts: hybrid urbanism, design with nature, livable place, integrated community, place for innovation, and attraction of talent. These are the main characteristics. So we inspire in nature in Vietnam to general for the transformation of this space. So the water system is very important. So for developing an innovation center here in this in the heart of Eco Park, we identify this Grand Canal. This is the water bodies, and this is the waterfront. These are the boulevards, and these are the public space. These are the streets and square. So we design public space, and then the architectural components will come later. So the urban components come after designing nature, after designing the public space. The different components, urban components of the Eco Park Innovation District that we call the Diamond City are the digital village. You see the digital village. This is the phase zero for innovation near the universities. This is the entrance. This is the Diamond Gate, the gate entering the project. And this is the Global Corporation Campus. And in the center, we have the hub. The hub is very important for the magnetism, for the attraction. We have an expo and convention center. We have a singular building, the icon, and also the waterfront. Also, we are creating a Vietnam town. The Vietnam town will be an important component of that, and also the so-called the cubes of innovation in the waterfront. This small architecture with different character, with digital facades that can have a dialogue with the community. So this is, in general, this is the Eco Park Innovation District. This is, so we call the Diamond City. So the digital village is mainly for attracting talent, for attracting people to live and work in the area. To give you an idea of the design of this digital village, you have this block, we call the super block or living block. Inside, you can have the access. Outside, you have the public space for pedestrian. So you see inside and outside. This is the architecture we are suggesting for the super block. Instead of having cars everywhere, we have the boulevards at the waterfront for pedestrian-oriented activities, and in the center, we have the accessibility. For us, it's very important mixed use. It's very important to create a place to live, work, play, and learn. And also, it's also important looking for complementarities between the different components of the project, particularly in the Global Corporation Campus. Through the participatory process, we identify the need for attracting headquarters, co-working space, institutional buildings, and this is what we develop in this Global Corporation Campus. To give you an idea, we create the podium. The podium is the base of the buildings. And then the different buildings of the Global Corporation Campus will maintain a public space interaction in the ground floor. And we will have the mixed use for having a very active life. And also green buildings, bioclimatic architecture as a reference for this Global Corporation Campus. In the phase zero should be an area which is very close to the universities, an area for business incubator, universities, hospital facilities. So this is how we imagine the future of phase zero. Phase zero will have a lot of community engagement and will have different typologies and different components that will provide this magnetism to attract talent, to begin business, to interact with the university, and to interact with the Global Corporation Campus. The Vietnam town is the area you see in the image. This is the Vietnam town. We want to recover the historical character of the architecture and urban planning in Vietnam. So in most cases, they are very spontaneous, but the quality of place they achieve is really unique. This relation between buildings and water, we would like to replicate in this area. This is low-rise housing, and this is how we imagine and contemporary interpretation of the traditional Vietnam architecture. And this is, in total, this is a vision of this innovation district in Vietnam. This is the mixed use. This is the percentage of the area to play, to work, to learn, to live here in this Diamond City. And for us, it's very important, and I think Japan can really contribute to look for a smart, sustainable solution. Sustainable solution for creating an ITC integration platform that can really manage all the sensors and all the components, all the digital components of the city, particularly mobility. We have fiber optics ring for mobility, for accelerating mobility. Also, the research of Toyota in autonomous vehicle, I think, is an opportunity to implement here, and also electromobility in general. Also, digital solution for environment and water, digital solution for energy, using the roofs and using the facades to capture energy for the city. And this is very important, that the technology is at the service of the people. This is a place for innovation, and this is a place for interaction. And we have hybrid urbanism, design with nature, livable place, 24/7, place for innovation, attractive of talent. These are the main orientation taken from the participatory process, and we have interpreted in that. In terms of branding, you see a stone. This is stone, and this is a diamond. The diamond comes from stone, but the diamond is human interaction, is human perfection. This is geometry, and this is what inspired the Diamond City. So the Diamond City will be probably one of the most significant projects in Vietnam, in metropolitan Hanoi, to create a hub of innovation to provide services to companies operating in this 30 million people Red River Delta territorial diamond. So this is the context, this is the project, and I hope can be useful for inspiring Japanese companies, Japanese professionals to help in the collaboration of this project. I would like to highlight a couple of opportunities I see near Singapore, but in Indonesia. This is Singapore, and this is the island of Singapore, small island, very small island of Singapore. But if you see historically, Singapore in 1900 was a village, was something very small. This is Singapore in 1900. You see immediately you see the evolution of Singapore, and now recently in the last decades, the transformation of Singapore. So Singapore is growing beyond Singapore. This is something we call Singapore super city that is connected in the north with Malaysia, with Johor Bahru, and also is connected, is connected with the islands of Indonesia, Batam, Bintan, and Karimun. In the area of Bintan, we design eco island, an eco island. This is the space syntax. This is the new proposal of connecting Batam and Bintan, and how Bintan could be in the future with this huge forest ring, but with very balanced infrastructure and new development. This is an island this design prepared for 3 million people. The growth of Singapore will be outside Singapore, will be probably here in Bintan, also in Malaysia, in Batam. So this is an example how a neighbor's territory can really collaborate. Singapore has difficulties of attracting talent inside Singapore because the very high prices in the apartments and in the real estate, and the opportunity of being so close, we can have a complementarity, not having Singapore in the center and Indonesia and Malaysia at the periphery, but a polycentrism, a collaboration with complementary functions. This is the role of Bintan in this context. And of course, being an island, digital technology is really very important. So providing Bintan with digital technology in which Japan has a fantastic experience in developing cities in Japan and also internationally. This is an opportunity also for collaboration. Finally, I would like to share with you an amazing opportunity we see in the center of the country, in Java Island, that we around Jakarta, metropolitan Jakarta is around 32 million people. It's huge, metropolitan Jakarta. You see the role of Jakarta, the biggest city in ASEAN territories. Jakarta is really amazing, and I think Tokyo and Yokohama has a huge potential to inspire and to collaborate in the transformation of a city of the complexity of metropolitan Jakarta. You see, not only Jakarta, but also Bandung, and also Serang. These are key cities. These are an isochrone of 30 minutes, isochrone of 1 hour. So this is an amazing metropolitan territory. It's like a diamond that with a population near 70 million people. It's a polycentric structure, really very strong. You know that Jakarta has a lot of problems for flooding, also sometimes tsunamis. The waterfront need to be protected. There is a lot of pollution. There is a lot of traffic problems and congestion. And the government of Indonesia decided to create a new capital outside Jakarta. But Jakarta is not the problem. Jakarta is the opportunity to save Jakarta. In this reason, from Fundación Metrópoli, we are proposing an idea we call the Blue Ocean City. The Blue Ocean City is protecting the coastal line of Jakarta. You see the ecological corridors, and you see the new islands for protecting the coastal line. This is very important because the danger of flooding of this territory. So the idea of creating a linear structure, a linear metropolitan articulation that can give a new dimension to the centrality of Jakarta. Jakarta, as I say, is congested. In this case, through this Blue Ocean project, Blue Ocean City, something important could be done. And you see the opportunities for different islands to have different character, for economic activities, for leisure, for new institutions. So this is an opportunity to renew Jakarta, one of the biggest and more complex cities in the world. And I would like to remind that in Japan, particularly in Tokyo, you have an amazing experience of an amazing experience of transforming the waterfront. You see, in Tokyo, most of the Bay of Tokyo has been developed with reclaiming land and also with islands. So Tokyo is one of the cities with the most successful and radical waterfront transformation. And other cities like Singapore, Vancouver, Dubai, Hamburg have also executed similar projects. So when I see Yokohama and Minato Mirai and this amazing city, I think the experience of dealing with water, with dealing with port, can be very useful for inspiring the transformation of metropolitan Jakarta. So these three examples, Vietnam, digital city for innovation that we call the Diamond City. Also opportunities in new islands like Bintan. You know that Indonesia has more than 17,000 islands. So having eco-islands for energy, water, relation with nature is an opportunity in which Japan can really contribute. And of course, having the experience of Tokyo, the biggest city in the world, I think this experience in terms of managing technology, quality of place, of the experience of Japan can really inspire other emerging territories around the world, and in particular can inspire the transformation of Jakarta in Indonesia. Fundación Metrópoli, as I told you at the beginning, is an international research center helping cities to think the future. I think this alliance between international organization of knowledge together with countries and also the strength of urban solution sector in Yokohama and Japan can be a good equation for working together in the future, particularly in the ASEAN region. So thank you very much for your attention, and I will be happy to answer and participate in the debate that we will have later on. Thank you very much.
Vietnam, Indonesia, and you also touched upon Japan as well. A very insightful presentation. So I'd like to invite Retnam-san. Retnam-san lives in Hanoi. He originally came from Singapore, and he is serving as a senior advisor, special advisor of Fundación. And World City Summit was organized by him, and ASEAN Span City, a private sector, was also launched by Mr. Retnam. And right now, Asian Institute City Management is being led by him, and he now lives in Hanoi, working on the urban cities of Vietnam. So, looking at Asian city building and also what you expect on Japan, if you could react to Doctor's presentation, can I have a word from you, Mr. Retnam, please?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Of course, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's listening in, and thank you for that, Mr. Toru, for the introduction. It's a pleasure to be part of this very important 9th Asia Smart City Conference, which is going to give us an opportunity to look at both the macro and the micro. Let me just touch on, since I'm in Vietnam, although I'm glad you mentioned I'm from Singapore. Like I always say that you can take me out of Singapore, but you can't take the Singapore out of me. And that's very much how we operate within the ASEAN region. I'd like to mention that while analysts are bullish about Vietnam's ability to continue growing and developing, and possibly becoming the next Asian miracle, there are challenges to some of these ambitions. Recently, there was the National Congress meeting that was held by the Vietnam government. And one of the goals in its 5-year economic development plan, which is doubling its gross domestic product, the GDP, by 2025 from last year's indication. The government also wants more privatization of its state-owned enterprises and to increase the share of private companies in the economy from the current 42% to about 50% or more. So very ambitious, and a key goal really is to move up the value chain by attracting better quality foreign direct investment. And I'd like to emphasize on that, not only on FDI, but better quality. Just to give you some perspective, over the past 5 years, and I've been here just about 5 years as well, many foreign firms looking for cheaper alternative to China. And Vietnam has become a hub for manufacturing in Southeast Asia, from apparel makers to electronic giants setting up their factories in the north, center, and south of Vietnam. So by 2017, 2018, the country has become the largest exporter of clothing and second largest exporter of electronic goods in the region. But now I think there's a slight different switch. The government wants to attract better quality investment to allow the country to move up the value chain to be more productive in specific higher earning areas. And also the reality is to alleviate its pollution problems. Some of the industries, such as apparel industry, as you realize, are highly polluting. And much of manufacturing is also low end and labor intensive. So while its tech sector is still pledging, much of the activity is on product assembly with low value add. Now, and I'd like to sort of echo what Dr. Alfonso mentioned about the experience of Japan, especially Yokohama. And I think the areas of Yokohama is being very strong. It's actually in waste management, in port development, and also innovative urban solutions. So if you could allow me to just comment at a micro level, my recommendation is for investors to focus at the provinces for better ease of evaluating business potential. There are a total of 63 provinces. They have local provincial committees which report to the Central Port Politburo. In 2019, the highest FDI for the investment was reported in Hanoi and Bắc Ninh province, both in the north, followed with Ho Chi Minh in the south. As Toru-san knows, Da Nang in central Vietnam is a sister city of Yokohama and has always been an economic model for the rest of the country. The pace of smart city development has been rather erratic. And I'd like to be rather candid about it, although we are very involved in some of these on-the-ground projects. And that's partly due to a lack of an integrated approach. Decision 950 is a decree issued by the Prime Minister for cities to be given the license to develop themselves as a smart city. And the cities and the government have realized they need to look at a more sustainable approach. To mention a few, VSIP, Vietnam Singapore Industrial Park, Eco Park, Amata, and Vin Group have made positive progress in developing real estate projects that provide live, work, and play environment. What I'd like to also just mention and announce today is the establishment of the Alliance of Smart City Leaders to accelerate the transfer of knowledge and solutions between private sector and provincial government. It's taken me a year to lobby this, and at the ASEAN Smart City High Level Summit, which Alfonso was a keynote speaker as well in Hanoi, we've got consensus from Ministry of Construction. The Central Planning Commission has just also given us their blessing, and I've just been informed a short while ago by the board of secretary that we have obtained the official license. This will operate in a form of a community club under the Vietnam Digital Communication Association initially, and most importantly, it will serve as a bridge between smart city development at local government level. So I'm very pleased to announce that today at the 9th Asia Smart City Conference, and I hope we can share with the colleagues here at Yokohama and elsewhere more about this initiative. So key areas, as I mentioned, the experience sharing and bridging, where Vietnam needs focus is in the relation of healthcare infrastructure, education, agriculture, because 38% of our GDP, across GDP, is very much on agriculture. And these are, so we need more innovation to accelerate the development of these sectors, and also to preserve and conserve what we have, our intangible assets in this country, to also boost tourism. So that's my my initial contribution to this very important conversation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, Retnam-san and Vegara-san, I think there are some commonalities. You are looking at the cities at a very wide scope. You look at the various functions. QOL, for instance, and livability are some aspects. So, for instance, in Vietnam, who do you talk to, or who should we be talking to, for starters?
Thank you for the question, and if allow me to just comment, I think the experience of Fundación Metrópoli had is a very good model to look at, where we had a very high level government visit to Madrid and Echo Box, and Dr. Alfonso hosted Vice Minister of Construction, and they also brought along with them their private sector players. So subsequently, the engagement was both within the private sector as well as local government, and so it's very much a triple helix model, and I think that was one good example of how it we hit the ground running, so as to speak. I mean, as in every country, you have to maneuver and understand and navigate within the local terrain. The local cities, as I mentioned, I think are extremely pro-business. I just returned from the city of Dalat, and we're helping Dalat achieve its application for the Creative Cities Network. And the local Dalat People's Committee has identified several projects. So I think, and each project has its independent partner, which is either a state-owned enterprise or a private sector approved contractor, which is very important. My advice generally to engage at multiple levels. So it has to be a multiple level engagement in order to have clarity before you proceed with establishing your project.
Thank you. Dara is a France resort city. Yes. It's known for wine as well. So, Doctor, these ideas for development, how are you trying to nurture these kind of ideas? How long will it take?
I think a project like the Diamond City, we had the advantage that is for the evolution of the project is a 100% private sector initiative. I saw some of the questions from the participants asking about who is sponsoring, who is promoting this Diamond City. Diamond City is promoted by EcoPark. It's a private entity, but with very good dialogue with the public sector. For the success of a project of this scale, is very important to understand the context. It is impossible in the periphery of Hanoi to create a hub of innovation without a dialogue with this industrial transformation at the Red River Delta territory. So it is the specialization of this hub of innovation is providing services to the industry around. So that's the reason why initially Eco Park was a township only for residential, high quality residential, dialogue with nature, but the new challenge is attracting talent, attracting people to live and work in the area. And this is the essence of the project of the Diamond City. So in terms of timing, we'll go very quick because it's totally privately owned. And we are having direct conversation with companies from Japan, companies from Singapore, that they are interested in having a place of excellence where they can develop their growth and their activities in Vietnam. So also we are inspiring the public sector to consider the diamond as a whole and not only as independent provinces and villages. So this idea of the diamond will inspire the future of infrastructure, will inspire the collaboration and the complementarity between the different components of the urban system, and also how to protect nature and avoiding sprawl, as you saw, and also avoiding the lack of coherence between the different components. So we have the private sector going very quick, very, very fast in developing their own project, easy dialogue with international investors, and at the same time, very important to maintain the dialogue with the public sector for providing the infrastructure we need for the private sector development. So it's a very interesting and necessary dialogue between private and public.
Excuse me, my mic was on mute, and you've already responded to the questions submitted from the audience. So thank you very much, Doctor. So here in Japan, Yokohama is one major project for city development. So the public platform provided by Yokohama or Yokohama City, and I think that that has been the route that Japan has taken quite frequently. But when we look at Vietnam, countries where the public sector is very strong to begin with, it is such developments are led by the private. So you mentioned that it starts off with the residential area. It now becomes more multiple in terms of its usage. And so when we receive inquiries, a lot of interest is put forth to the industrial area as well. And so the sense of speed, obviously, because if it's private sector led, they tend to focus on maximizing profit. So to avoid any developments that do not reap benefits, I think obviously will not show or be of interest. So that's one point. So I also have another question for Vegara-san, Professor, the Doctor. So you promoted in Spain the Bilbao, and it was awarded as well. So Bilbao used to be an industrial area, but by each flood, it transformed itself and you created a city story. So Bilbao was obviously in the limelight because of that. So Yokohama, as well as the Tokyo area here in Japan, what do you think is the story for us that we can tell from ASEAN? And so from somebody that lives outside of Japan, how do you see our story?
Wonderful. Thank you, Toru. This is a very, very important point. Internationally, we can identify cities that they have a very clear project for the future and cities without such a project. It's very important for Yokohama, for Tokyo, to create a clear vision of the future. What I see as a strength, Tokyo is probably one of the more complex cities in the world. Probably if you are able to give solution to transportation, to give solution to providing water, to dealing with garbage treatment, to have a digital solution in Tokyo and Yokohama. That could be a reference for the era we are living of cities. We are living in a world of cities. So I can imagine the Japanese urban solutions to be a reference to help other countries around the world to develop. It is very important that Yokohama become an example of transformation, leading ideas, not only leading technology. You already are leading a lot of technologies, but we need to articulate a vision how the cities will operate in the future in terms of quality of place, to attract talent and to promote our ecosystem of innovation. And this story of Yokohama can be shared with other cities around the world. I like very much the idea of JICA, JOIN, Whiteport, and other organizations that has the capacity to help other territories in the region to think the future. And after that, providing the necessary urban solution. You are in a very singular position to lead this process internationally of sharing the experience of Japan, the experience of going from a country with a lot of challenges to a country which is a reference globally in terms of infrastructure, global solutions, and digital solutions today. But again, it is very important to go from technology to human magnetism for attracting talent and to creating cities of the future in a human environment that you can share internationally.
Thank you. Technology and solution, and also a place for a human to live in. We need to evolve. So, Mr. Retnam, about the strength of Yokohama as a harbor, a city, and also garbage collection and so forth. You mentioned this. And yes, Japan used to be a technologically advanced nation, but I'm not sure about now. But going over and beyond technology, or maybe even about technology, what do you expect from Japan? So we're running out of time. So if you could summarize within 1 or 2 minutes, please. Thank you.
Well, I like to just also highlight the importance of research. Right. So I think although as you mentioned earlier on, Mr. Toru, about the speed of the private sector wanting to commercialize and achieve ROI, but I think research and the ability to first understand the territory, understand the challenges, understand the problems facing, and so we can develop the right solution to and that's where what we have done with in the Red River as well, but in a much broader scale. But research is for me of paramount importance. And I think there's a lot of research at Whiteport and Yokohama and JICA, and your various private sector parties could come together to provide and then deep dive with a local partner to see how the research could equate into a solution that can be commercialized to address an urban challenge, and of course to make it sustainable and viable.
Thank you very much. We have received several questions from the audience, but I'm sorry, due to time constraints, we are not able to entertain those questions. So in closing, Doctor, if you have a message to the audience in Japan as a closing remarks, Doctor, please.
I think Japan is an amazing country. It's a reference for all of us. We are learning all the time from Japan, and you have the possibility to sharing your experience of creating Tokyo, creating Yokohama, and the urban system. But the key point is leading also the ideas of future transformation of cities, collaborating with other cities to help them to define their own future, and then providing and sharing the technology. I see an amazing opportunity for Japan in this field, and particularly in the area of ASEAN cities.
Okay, let me speak in English. Dr. Vegara and Dr. Retnam, thank you very much being with us, and especially from Madrid, very, very early in the morning. I'm sorry for that. Not sorry, I appreciate. And let us keep on talking, and let's create a vision together from just a stone into diamond. Yeah, I love that, that transformation, right? That's good, huh? So that, yeah, we are in the same business to transform the city through the smart technology and beyond. So thank you very much, and stay with us if you have time. The second session will be more with a panelist and talk about what we can do based on your presentation. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
So this will conclude the first session. Thank you very much. We will begin the second session at 4 p.m. Tokyo time. Thank you.